fucking baseball season, boys. Let's go. Well, at the 11th hour last night, some breaking news broke, because that's what breaking news does, apparently. Francisco Lindor finally signed a 10-year extension with the New York Mets for 10 years, $341 million. To note, this doesn't start this year because of his final arbitration deal. So this actually starts for the 2022 season. So the total commitment for the Mets for Lindor is 11 years, $363.3 million. A lot of people are saying this is too much money, blah, 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 everything, all the stuff that people say when people sign these massive deals. I don't care. Francisco Lindor's he has the most talent of any shortstop in Major League Baseball. He absolutely deserves this money. I think he's meant to be a Met. Did I want him as a Yankee fan? Of course I did. He just looks good in orange and blue. He dyed his hair blue. Absolutely just teed off in spring training for the Mets. I'm happy for him for sure. That being said, he's, like I said, probably the best shortstop in baseball, has that potential. Definitely, probably plays the best defense for shortstops in Major League Baseball. Or if not the best, one of the best defensive games in Major League Baseball. He's going to help that Mets team out a lot. Not sure exactly where he's going to hit in the order. Mets fans, let me know. Of course, he brings a lot of balance to that lineup. He's a switch hitter. He's going to just absolutely rake as always. He brings a ton of potential to that Mets team. That Mets clubhouse definitely has a different vibe now. The whole aura around the Mets is different now because of Francisco Lindor. People always say the Mets are going to Met, and it looked like the Mets were going to Met. It looked like the Mets were going to let Lindor walk. They weren't going to get this deal done, but they finally met in the middle with Francisco Lindor and got the deal done. And I'm glad they did. Like I said, Corey Seager might be a Yankee anyway. But anyway, Lindor gets absolutely paid. I expect him to have a huge year and probably lead the Mets to the playoffs. Of course, if you haven't seen that video, make sure you go check it out. But I do expect the Mets to make the postseason. I think they're going to make the wild card. I don't expect them to win the division, but that whole Mets clubhouse is going to have a different vibe. Lindor's finally getting the respect he deserves as a player that he never got from the Cleveland baseball team. And the Mets paid up. Steve Cohen, the richest owner in sports, paid up. Good for him. Good for Lindor. I'm very excited to see what he can do in that Mets uniform. Just don't beat my Yankees, please. Normally, I try not to be biased on here, but it's opening day. The Yankees are winning the World Series. They're going 162-0. Watch it. All right, so for your opening day predictions, I'm just going to go over the opening day slate. I won't do this every day, but it's opening day, so I want to enjoy it. First up, and I'm just going through MLB.com in terms of when the games open up. So the first game of the day is your New York Yankees versus your Toronto Blue Jays. Hyun-Jin Ryu versus Garrett Cole. I got to go with my boy Garrett Cole in this one. I do think the Yankees are going to take the win. Aaron Judge is going to go deep 6 times, of course. So is Giancarlo Stanton. Real talk, though, I do hope the Yankees win. Yes, biased. Like I said, the Yankees are going 162-0. Ryu, soft-tossing left-hander. Is he really good? Yes. Are the Yankees' bats really good? Also, yes. Hopefully, the Yankees can score. Hopefully, Garrett Cole's going to go out there and shove for them. So the Yankees are 1-0 going into tomorrow. Let's hope. Second up, Indians versus Tigers. That's Shane Bieber, greatest pitcher on the planet as of last year, versus worst diamond in MLB The Show, Matthew Boyd. Got to take the Indians on this one. Matthew Boyd is probably the worst opening day starter planned for now. Sorry, Matthew Boyd. You're not watching this anyway. Yeah, got to go with Shane Bieber. He's probably not going to give up any runs to those Detroit Tigers. If he does, it'll only be a couple. And even that Indians offense can score against Matthew Boyd. So we'll see how it goes. Next up, the Twins versus the Brewers. A interleague matchup for these teams to start off the season. We got Kenta Maeda versus Brandon Woodruff. I think Christian Yelich is going to shut up the haters right away. I got to go with the Milwaukee Brewers in this one. Yelich is probably going to go deep at least once in this one. That's my prediction. He's going to start that bounce back year off immediately. The Brewers are going to win this one. Don't know by how much, but they're going to win. I'm just going to go with that. Next up, we got the Pirates and the Cubs. Chad Kuhl versus Kyle Hendricks. Basically, what I said about Matthew Boyd can also be applied to Chad Kuhl. So I got to go with the Cubs in this one. Yes, the Cubs had a bad offensive season last year. Maybe they'll bounce back this year. The Cubs are obviously the better team on paper. Maybe Brian Hayes is just going to go out there and hit 9 dingers today. Maybe the Pirates do pull out with the victory and just start out the Cubs season pretty poorly. But I got to go with the Cubs in this one. Kyle Hendricks is a fantastic starter. He seems to be in that Cy Young discussion every year, even though he's pretty underrated, doesn't throw that hard. But he definitely gets the job done. So I got to go with the Cubs, like I said. Next up, we got the Braves and the Phillies. We got Max Fried versus Aaron Nola. In my opinion, they both have top 10 starter potential. This is a very interesting one. Joked all offseason that the Phillies are a 4th-place team, but they're not a 4th-place team when Aaron Nola is on the mound. But Max Fried is, of course, a fantastic pitcher himself. For me, my gut says the Phillies are going to win this one. I don't know why, even though I still think the Braves are going to win the division. For some reason, I just think Nola is going to go out there and shove. He looked amazing against the Yankees in spring training, so I think they're going to take the dub in this one. Maybe Bryce Harper goes deep a couple times, shuts up those hitters like he seems to always do. Good for him. Next up, we got the Dodgers and the Rockies. This one's obvious. I got to go with the Dodgers. We have possibly the greatest pitcher of our generation, Clayton Kershaw versus German Marquez. Marquez obviously has lots of potential, but he's not Clayton Kershaw. They're also playing at Coors Field, so not going to take Marquez in this one. The Dodgers have possibly the greatest offense ever, so I got to go with Clayton Kershaw shutting down those weak Colorado Rockies bats. Sorry, Rockies fans, which I apparently am one. Next up, we got the Arizona Diamondbacks versus the San Diego Padres. Madison Bumgarner had a terrible year last year versus potential Cy Young Award winner last year, Yu Darvish. Got to go with Yu Darvish. He's found a new home in San Diego. I think he's going to go out there and pitch super well against that weak Diamondbacks offense. And I think Tatis, Machado, they're all going to take Bumgarner deep today. Bumgarner's going to hate it, but that's just what happens. Bumgarner's old now. Got to go with the San Diego Padres. Up next, we have the St. Louis Cardinals versus the Cincinnati Reds. Jack Flaherty, also top 10 pitcher in baseball potential, versus Luis Castillo, also top 10 pitcher in baseball potential. This one's difficult as well. On paper, this is a very, very even matchup with Castillo on the mound. We all know that Reds offense has potential to be good, but are they going to be good? That's the question. That's the million-dollar question. They weren't good last year. They sucked in the postseason. So I think I'm going to go with the St. Louis Cardinals. I just expect the Reds to be even more disappointing again this year. I don't want that to be the case, but I think the Cardinals figure out how to do it. They've got Nolan Arenado, their big trade acquisition, of course. They have Tyler O'Neill, Dylan Carlson, Harrison Bader in the outfield. I think all those guys have something to prove, especially Dylan Carlson. He wants to prove that the beginning of last year was a fluke and that he is, in fact, the real deal. Next up on the slate, we have the Texas Rangers versus the Kansas City Royals. We have Kyle Gibson versus Brad Keller. Now, I'm actually going to go with the Kansas City Royals. They have much higher potential this coming season, and I think that's just going to show on opening day. Kyle Gibson, not that great of a pitcher. Right, the Rangers certainly aren't that great of a team. The Royals, they put some pretty good offseason moves together. Brad Keller's got a lot of potential, so I got to go with the Royals in this one. And I just think the Rangers season's going to start out pretty poorly. It just makes sense. It just makes sense. I'm sorry, Rangers fans. Next up on the slate, we got the Tampa Bay Rays versus the, like I said, America's sweetheart, Miami Marlins. I almost said the team name, Sandy Alcantara. That's the opening day starter. Versus Tyler Glasnow. If you guys have seen the channel, listened to the podcast, you know that I think Tyler Glasnow is very overrated. Like him as a pitcher, he just hasn't had the results yet. I do think the Rays figure out how to win this one. They are the better team on paper. The Marlins have lots of young talent. Of course, the Marlins had the best record in spring training. I do like what Sandy Alcantara brings to the table, but Tyler Glasnow has developed a third pitch finally. He's got that nasty wipeout slider. I do think he's probably going to shove in this one versus that Marlins offense. So I got the Rays beating the Marlins in this one. Next up for your prime time slate, we have the New York Mets, as I mentioned, now with a long-term shortstop in Francisco Lindor versus the Washington Nationals. Jacob deGrom, the best pitcher in baseball by far right now, versus Max Scherzer, the former best pitcher in baseball. Got to go with Jacob deGrom. I mean, is Jacob deGrom ever going to give up runs? I got to assume no, right? Max Scherzer is, of course, great. He's older than Jacob deGrom. Jacob deGrom is the best pitcher in baseball. Seemingly gets better every time he touches the baseball. Very jealous. He's just amazing. Got to go with Jacob deGrom in this one. The Mets are going to start out 1-0. They've got that Lindor swag. Lindor's got the swag. They've all got swag. Steve Cohen's got swag now. They brought back the black jerseys. The Mets are going to be great. Next up, we've got the Chicago White Sox versus the Los Angeles Angels. Lucas Giolito, a lot of people's picks for the AL Cy Young versus Dylan Bundy. Got to go with the White Sox in this one. They have tons of hype around them. Lucas Giolito is just a fantastic pitcher. One of my favorite pitchers in baseball. He's extremely fun to watch, of course, through that no-hitter last year. I do think Dylan Bundy is probably going to regress a little bit this year. Maybe not have as great of a year as he did last year. Lucas Giolito is absolutely fantastic, has the stuff for it. And the White Sox just have more potential behind them than the Angels do. Yes, the Angels have a great offense. They have the greatest player possibly ever in Mike Trout. But I think the White Sox are going to pull this one out because I do think the Angels are going to have yet another disappointing season. Next up, 10:07 p.m. Eastern, we have the Houston banging Astros versus the Oakland Athletics. We've got Zach Greinke on the mound versus Chris Bassett. Chris Bassett's one of my favorite pitchers in MLB The Show, of course, but in real life, he's not as good as Zach Greinke, probably, especially not in terms of career totals. Got to go with Zach Greinke in this one. Zach Greinke is just a professional. The Astros are a professional team. A lot of people are sleeping on them. I hate the Astros as much as the next guy, but they're still really good. They still have a great offense. Zach Greinke's really good. They still have a really good bullpen. They lost some guys, but that doesn't really matter. Zach Greinke's going to go out there and shove. And even if it's a close game, I do expect the Astros to end up out on top in this one. Next up, we have the Giants and the Mariners. Kevin Gausman got that qualifying offer from the Giants during the offseason versus one of the more underrated pitchers in baseball, Marco Gonzalez. My gut says Marco Gonzalez is just going to go out there and shove. So I got to go with the Seattle Mariners winning this one versus the San Francisco Giants. How confident am I in that? Almost not at all, but that doesn't matter. I think Marco Gonzalez is a fantastic pitcher. He's just going to go out there and shove. The Mariners are going to find whatever offense they can. Maybe their young guys like Kyle Lewis continue to rake. We'll see what they're able to do, and hopefully they take the dub here in this one. And then before I had even decided to get out of bed this morning, the Red Sox had postponed their game with the Baltimore Orioles, unfortunately. So we only get 14 games today instead of the planned 15. Apparently it is pouring out there in Boston, so they're not going to be able to play this one. So they're going to make up the game tomorrow because they had a planned off day tomorrow anyway, which it does suck for Boston fans and Orioles fans, of course. Not that they had a ton to look forward to this year, but opening day is, of course, one of the greatest days of the year in my opinion. So they're not going to be able to play this one. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys thought of my predictions. How excited are you for opening day? Because I can't contain my excitement. Mets fans, let me know how excited you are for Francisco Lindor. I would be absolutely ecstatic. I'd probably just be jumping around, just partying. Yeah, have a cold one. I don't care if it's 8 a.m. where you are. Have a cold one. Celebrate the day. Fortunately, I have to work tonight, so I can't watch all of the games, but I will be watching the Yankee game at 1 p.m. Very excited for this one, guys. Of course, let me know what you guys think of my predictions. Like I said, how excited are you for opening day? I am ecstatic. This is my favorite day of the year. It's baseball season. Boys, we're optimistic. Like I said, the Yankees are winning the World Series. Just cancel the season. It's going to happen. Aaron Judge is going to play 1-55. Stanton's hitting 50 bombs. Sanchez is hitting 40 bombs. Book it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.